Tech for Senior, episode 97. It's January 31st, soon to be February. Spring is coming. Wow, exciting times. Welcome everybody to Tech for Senior. We have 71 people in the audience today and a bunch of people over on YouTube as we broadcast our show not only to in our Zoom meeting here, but we broadcast it over onto YouTube. Show's a little bit different for those listening on YouTube. We'll broadcast this for about 50 minutes, and just prior to Bill's segment, we will be stopping the live broadcast. If you want to come back over and see us on our Zoom meeting, we have lots of space for you, and we're happy to have you back over here, and you can participate in the Q&A, which occurs from top of the hour down to about 20 minutes. Then we give you about a 10-minute break, and at half past the hour, we are going to have our premiere service today, and it's free. There's no charge. You can just pop over to YouTube. I put the link in the chat, so I'll do that again. If someone just reminds me before we finish the meeting, I'll put the link back in the chat again. You just click on that link and it will take you to the video. And today, Hewie probably doesn't remember, but he gave an outstanding talk a year ago on QR codes. So thank you so much, Hewie. We're going to listen to that again today. Ray Baxter did an excellent job on how to record your computer screen, and we're going to listen to that. And I'm going to talk about installing apps on your Android phone, or apps on your Chromebook. So all that will be as a pre-recorded segment half past the hour, and I put the link in the chat for you. Just click on that, and that should take you there. So that's where we are today. And before I introduce everybody, we have a big show for you today, so I can't talk too long because we have lots of things happening. But I wanted just to give everybody an update on the our Ko-fi fund. As you know, this is a free service. We have nobody gets paid, but we do have expenses, and the expenses are once a year. We ask everybody to help with the expenses, and you did this year, and you did last year as well. This last week when we announced it, we're about a third of the way. We got about $350 donated, and I just wanted to thank everybody that donated this week, and I want to just read their names. Now, if I don't get them completely right, I'm sorry, and the print's awful small on my printout here, but we'll go through these. Edie Richards, Ian Tallman, Byron Nate, Irving Gershowitz, USA Sexton, Gerald Hennessy, Diane Ortloff, Gerald Mars, Donna Kirkhoven, the Glenora Seniors Computer Club, Bob Baxter, Liz Milford, Joel Sandberg, Ann Titus, Linda Stewart, Neil B., Elizabeth Bradley, Ann Hunt, and Elizabeth Milford. And if I've forgotten anybody, that's the list so far. So thanks everyone for doing that. I don't anticipate a problem. I mean, last year it took about 3 weeks as well, and we had enough. We reached our goal, and that's it. Then we can have fun for the rest of the year. So we just want to get this done, get it over with, so we can pay the bills and keep having fun for the rest of the year. And so thank you, all those of you who have donated so far. Let's talk. I want to introduce everybody. I think you know everyone, but I want to, of course, there's Hewie Poplock. Hewie and I had a big week last week. Hewie, what did we do last week?
We did learning Chromebooks.
Yeah, we did.
And we had a good turnout. We had some good information on it. The recording has been finished and edited and is on YouTube. And I'll be sending a note with the link to it to everybody who is registered. It may not have made it and can watch the video as well as those who did. And as many of you know, I was at a conference last week, and boy, did I learn a lot of things that I need to know about. One is everybody who's in the younger set. And when I say younger set, somebody's
Yeah, I
keeps,
got it.
I just
okay,
muted
thanks.
him.
Thank you. They're all using LinkedIn. They're not using Facebook. They're posting all kinds of stuff like they do on Facebook, but interesting things and things about them, things they're involved in. I got an account on LinkedIn now. I got to figure out how to update it and make it so I can contact some of these people. So it's going to be a challenge. Plus, I learned there's a couple of programs I need to learn how to do and so on. But got a lot out of it. I'm going to be passing some of it on today in my segment from one company, but I've got some interviews for the next few weeks. So
Great.
it was a lot of fun, especially being around the younger people who are so enthusiastic and so energetic about all this technology and helping, especially a lot of them were teachers and administrators of school systems, just how they're into the technology is really fantastic.
Yeah, indeed. So I'm glad you had a good time. Speaking of a younger mind, everyone knows Bob. There you go. Bob,
morning.
how did your week go?
Busy making some more videos. That's what
Yes.
keeps me busy.
Yes, that's lots of
Keeping
fun.
up.
Yes,
Keeping up with all of the stuff that's coming out.
it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yep.
And Ray, how did your week go?
Very nice. We had unexpected company for a while, which is always nice. And I finally got all the movies on my Plex server.
Oh, did you?
And now
Okay.
I'm packing them away, but I have to have them organized in case I want to find it again. It's about 350 so far. But my next step is to now get music on it. And I experimented it, and it's not quite as easy as it was with the movies.
All right.
But I'll be giving a report on that in the coming weeks.
Yeah, because we still expect part 3 from you.
Oh, you're counting. Okay.
I'm counting on it. By the way, can you come on Thursday?
Sure.
Okay. So everyone, as you know, on Thursday, we have another show. We have Tech for Senior Live, which we review all the news articles for the week. So if you don't watch it or you haven't listened to it yet, please come and listen to us on Thursday. And if you miss it, we even have it podcasted, so you can you listen to our podcast, which we're pretty proud of. And Bill James, of course, and his gadgets. I'm looking forward to his article for tomorrow. It'll come out in the newsletter. Of course, we're all busy buying his gadgets. My new coffee maker's coming tomorrow, and I'm going to do a little video on it for next week. So, Bill, do you have one?
I do have one, yes.
Oh, do you?
For years.
Okay.
I have just a single serve. Mine's not 12 cup. But I posted to Donna, I apologize for that I possibly misled, but the electronics of that electronic tape measure only replaced the tape portion. So you don't have a physical tape to pull out. So she would be correct. You would have to crawl around the floor to get an accurate measurement. I should have included that in my review. So I will be more careful in looking at the physical aspects of some of these things, particularly, we don't want us seniors to be inconvenienced. So if you want a physical tape that you're going to have to measure, you need to have the regular tape measure. But if you're doing just something like a tabletop, you want to just a short area, you can just run that. And you don't have the physical tape to contend with.
All right, thanks, Bill. Bob.
Also, Ron, I saw on Facebook today that someone said that if at our age, if you plan on getting on the floor to do something like a tape measure, you better have a plan on getting up before you get down on the floor.
That would be a true statement.
That'd be a true statement. Bob, are you ready to roll?
I am, as soon as people stop talking.
I know. I'm long-winded. I'm sorry.
Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending January 28th, 2022. Fitness trackers get more personalized. Wearable fitness trackers have widened their scope of health readings and seem to be heading in a direction where they can offer more personalized substantial health data to users. Along with measuring steps and heart rate, Fitness trackers today can measure blood oxygen saturation, sleep patterns, and even mental wellness. One Fitbit product measures changes in sweat to gauge how the body responds to stress. Apple is reportedly in the early stages developing Apple Watch tech that monitors blood sugar levels. According to CNET, the medical and tech communities seem to share a common goal in progressing wearables to help people take better care of themselves between doctor visits. But as wearables continue to store an increasing amount of our vital data, should users be worried about how much their fitness devices know about them? Avast security evangelist Louis Carones commented that the security on the trackers themselves is pretty solid. In terms of security, these devices are safe in general, at least when we talk about the main vendors, he said. They usually connect through Bluetooth, so it requires physical proximity to access them. We do, however, need to pay special attention to the devices we pair with them, like smartphones, as all our information will eventually be sent to those. Google replacing cookies with topics. Later this quarter, Google plans to test Topics, a new technology developed to replace third-party cookies and give the user more digital anonymity. The new protocol is aimed at making it difficult for bad actors to identify users across multiple sites by simply using the API. At the same time, the new API is meant to be understandable to users and transparent in its intention. Google's goal was to create an API that records less personally sensitive data than what is being recorded today. Google will test the new system with external parties before going wide. For more, see ZDNet or watch my video on this topic by following the link below. TrickBot gets harder to detect. The powerful malware known as TrickBot has become even more powerful according to researchers for IBM Trusteer, who have analyzed its most recent code injections. The malware's updates include a new server-side injection mechanism, encrypted communications with the command and control server, and anti-debugging feature, and new ways to obfuscate and hide the injected code. TrickBot persisted despite an attempted takedown by authorities in 2020. Some experts believe the latest improvements to the malware prime it for conducting online banking fraud, the original purpose of the malware when it was first created. For more, see Dark Reading. Flaws found in My 2022 Olympics app. The Citizen Lab has analyzed the My 2022 Olympics app, a required device download for anyone attending the Winter Games in Beijing, and found a simple but devastating flaw that can compromise privacy and put sensitive user data at risk. The app provides a wide range of functionality, from weather updates and chat features to government portals where one can submit health customs information and passport details. Citizen Lab believes the app security deficits violate both Google's unwanted software policy and Apple's App Store guidelines. For more on this, see Citizen Lab's full report. Dazzled Spy targets Mac users in Hong Kong. Researchers recently followed a malware campaign targeting Mac users in Hong Kong. The malware at play included a new bug nicknamed Dazzled Spy, which could collect information about the compromised system, enumerate files in certain folders, search for specific files, execute shell commands, exfiltrate files, write files to the disk, start a remote screen session, and more. While the attack on individuals has not been attributed to any known threat actor, Google researchers who studied the attack claimed it must have been run by a well-funded state-sponsored group. For more on this story, see Security Week. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. A new report from the UK's National Crime Agency has found the average age of DDoS hackers has dropped to 15, with some students being as young as 9 years old. The issue is that DDoS attacks are easy enough for even kids to carry out. For more on this, read the full story in the Avast blog. Just follow the link below. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Good information. The bad guys are still out there.
And younger.
Yep. 9 years old and already hacking.
Oh man. All right. Let's see now. I don't think Dewey is here. He's probably over at the computer club, but he sent his segment in today. So I'm going to let's have a look and see what he has to say.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is Chevy Bolt demise and a 5G surprise. The future was looking up for the Chevy Bolt electric vehicle and electric utility vehicle when I last spoke about them in my Tech Talk in mid-December. For your information, the Chevy Bolt was introduced in the US and Canada in 2016. However, last August, General Motors issued a recall of the Chevy Bolt due to battery fires and ordered Bolt owners to park them a short distance away from the owner's home for safety reasons. More than 140,000 Chevy Bolts became part of this $1.9 billion recall, which was paid for by battery manufacturer LG Chem. Battery replacement typically takes 13 to 14 hours per vehicle, so you can see this is quite costly. Production of the Chevy Bolt was scheduled to restart this month, though it now appears that the days of the Chevy Bolt are numbered. CNET.com was among the many tech news services reporting this past week that General Motors let it be known that it now has plans to convert the present Chevy Bolt plant in Orion, Michigan, into their second electric pickup truck factory. After conversion, this plant will start assembly of the upcoming Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra electric vehicles, which are a lot of people are really looking forward to those trucks. Final production of the Bolt electric vehicle and EUV will continue during the plant's conversion. Changing the subject, you may recall that January 5th was the date that Verizon and AT&T had planned to turn on their new 5G C-band service. This was later delayed until January 19th because of airline and airport fears that C-band could possibly interfere with aircraft altimeters in bad visibility landing situations. You know, in China and many other countries, they've been doing this for a while, but not here. DaytonNews.com reported last week that the US FAA has found a workaround for airplane altimeters that might have experienced 5G issues. This workaround involved testing 20 brands of altimeters used in airplanes and approving at least 90% of them as safe to use. Also, AT&T and Verizon have recently been working more closely with airports to help mitigate their fears, thus allowing this issue to gradually subside. Not all done yet, but it's darn close. This rollout of C-band 5G is truly a significant step, according to a recent article by Bob O'Donnell at Forbes.com. The article was titled, Verizon and AT&T C-band launch portends future of 5G. C-band will now enable the kind of fast download speeds we've been promised for 5G, but generally haven't seen, says Bob O'Donnell. Now, for what it's worth, I tested my new Verizon Samsung Galaxy S21 5G phone last Friday near a Verizon tower that borders Silver Ridge, our park here in Mesa, Arizona. I used speedtest.net on my phone and ran a test, and look at the results. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll see a download 224. That's 224 megabits per second download. how'd you like to pick up your phone and see that as a nice download speed? Of course, looking at the upload speed right next to it to the right, it's only 9.5. It's a little bit on the pathetic side, but still, wow, what a download speed. In real world terms, it's likely that most consumers with 5G phones will find speeds like this to be sufficiently fast. Verizon clearly recognizes this, as they decided to use the same 5G ultra wideband name for its C-band driven service as it does for its millimeter wave based 5G service. The author continued. Technically, Verizon is using 60 megahertz of dedicated bandwidth from 3.70 to 3.76 gigahertz to enable its new mid-band 5G network. It also is using advanced signal modulation techniques to improve performance and promises peak download speeds of over 1 gigabit per second in some places and eventually, and average speeds now that typically run around the 100 to 200 megabits per second, as I showed you with my phone. As for AT&T, their new C-band 5G network is rolling out in only 8 larger US cities, mostly test sites, compared to Verizon's 46. Though AT&T's C-band 5G efforts appear modest when compared with Verizon and T-Mobile, their spattering of test sites in larger US cities indicates their intent to be a worthy competitor in the future. For AT&T, C-band offers the boost that it definitely needs. In addition to faster speeds, mid-band 5G opens new possibilities, particularly around fixed wireless access, FWA, otherwise known as wireless broadband. I've talked about that in the past. That's available to in many places in the country, and it's going to offer a lot of possibilities, especially in areas where the internet has been much too slow. Toward that end, Verizon has launched both a greatly expanded 5G home internet service as well as low-cost offerings for business. And I've told you about some of these. T-Mobile had already launched 5G fixed wireless access service, though it did run into a few early glitches with its home receiver router devices. One of the most important aspects of the 5G C-band rollout is that it will finally bring real 5G service to a large percentage of the US population, maybe even close to half, by having all 3 major US carriers using wide chunks of mid-band spectrum to deliver this super fast 5G. The US can finally start catching up with China and other countries around the world that have already been using this sweet spot of mid-band spectrum for their 5G networks. This is not only a significant benefit for US consumers and businesses, but a critical step needed to start driving the extended benefits of a 5G economy. Writer Bob O'Donnell at Forbes.com concludes his article saying that with solid networks in place, more device makers will be inspired to integrate 5G modems into their products. Also, networking and cloud computing companies will enable the critical infrastructure that will be necessary to move computing, telecommunications, and technology forward. Collectively, that's when we will really start to see the future of 5G come to life. Well, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and I'm going to stick with this one, that's for sure. I won't be seeing you next week, but I'll be back a few weeks down the line. So take care, stay safe, have a great day, and God bless.
All right. Well, thank you, Dewey. Dewey, of course, is probably at our computer club. When he mentioned that his download speed was 224, that's about 224 times faster than it was in our RV resort. I'm sure that Greg can attest to that. Anyway, Hewie, are you ready to roll?
I certainly am. And I think I'll do my report from FETC first, and then we'll do the Windows tip. This is Hewie Poplock reporting on the Future of Education Technology Conference. This is report number 1. We're going to talk about Logitech. First part of our report features Will Ward talking about the Litra Glow and other Logitech products.
Hello, everybody.
It's working now.
All right. Hello and welcome to the Orange County Convention Center. Today I'm William with Logitech, and I'm going to tell you about Logitech's web cameras, our new Litra light, as well as a standalone microphone from Blue Microphones. So all of this is going to make your Zoom conferences so much better, with a camera to see you crisp and clear, a light so you can see yourself with perfect lighting, and also a little microphone so they can hear you nice and clear, so you're not yelling back and forth and getting frustrated with your computer technology. So it all starts off with a web camera. A web camera can just plug into your computer, and that way you're going to look as crisp and clear as you can. And we sell some very basic, affordable ones. We've got some mid-level and some really nice, high-quality 4K picture, so you can look your best. And to make it even better, we have a new little Litra light, because lighting's always an issue. So with this little light, you can just clip it to your monitor. It's adjustable. You can swivel it, you can angle it, anything you want to do on your computer. And on the back of it, you can simply turn it on and off. You can control the brightness levels. If you want to make it really bright, you can make it really dim. And also you can control the hue of it. So if you want to make it a little more of a skin tone, a little more bright and clear, you can adjust the light for you. What's nice about this light is it will not blind you. So you can look at it without squinting up when your conference calls, but it'll still make you look great for your pictures. So you just simply hang it up, and lights and camera. But then we have a standalone microphone as well. Just like your web camera and the light, you just plug it into your computer and turn it on. But with a microphone like this, with a much bigger coil, you're gonna sound a lot better than the little mics built into your computer devices already. So with a Blue microphone, a Logitech web camera, and the new Logitech Litra light, you are going to look and sound your best for all your conference calls with little hesitation back and forth through Zoom and all of your favorite services. Thank you for checking out our web cameras.
Thank you. Another Logitech product which was introduced at FETC is the Logitech Pen. It is a USI-enabled Chromebook stylus. It is only available for certain models of certain brands of Chromebooks, and is currently only available for the education market. This is the first of my reports from the FETC, the Future of Education Technology Conference. I'm Hewie Poplock. And while I'm getting ready for the next video, what I didn't realize until very recently, that the Blue Yeti microphone that I have, that I'm using, is now owned by Logitech. So they included that too. And that light is brand new, and I tried to get one to at least test, and they said they only had a very limited number of them. So if you try to order them, even though you're going to be able to order it, it's probably going to be back ordered for a while. So let's go on to my Windows tips for today. I don't know if I have to full screen it on mine, but I will.
Looks fine. Looks fine.
Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Microsoft File Explorer, copy or move. I'm Hewie Poplock. We're going to be talking about copying or moving a file from one folder to another today. Your computer is made up of brains and file cabinets. Your brains are the memory or the CPU. The file cabinet can be your hard drive, it can be thumb drives, it could be a memory card, it could be an SSD drive or solid state drive. All of those are file cabinets. File cabinets, and inside of each drawer are hanging folders. Inside the hanging folders, you put manila folders inside of them. And then inside of the manila folders are pieces of paper, are articles, are documents, and so on. And then you can have manila folders within manila folders, or subfolders and subfolders. In an organized drawer, it would look something like this. So you can organize your computer files the same way. This is Windows 7, I believe, from an earlier capture that I did. This is Windows 11 on my current computer. On my computer, at the bottom in my taskbar is something called This PC and File Explorer. Both of them get you basically to the same place. This PC is just like one level higher than File Explorer. The older versions of Windows would look like this. It was called Windows Explorer then, but now it's called File Explorer. It looked like this, but it hasn't changed a whole bunch. And if you opened up the whole computer, it would look like this. In Windows 11, this is what it looks like with the ribbon at the top. Of course, ribbon at the top was introduced in 10, so you did see that in 10. Let's take a look at Windows 11 because that's the computer that I work with, and it's easier for me to make screenshots and show you. When we open up this PC, this is what it looks like on my computer. Now, remember, there are a lot of ways in which you can show the information in File Explorer, and to show you all the different ways in which we can do that will be another tip. Right now, we're just talking about copying and moving a file from one folder to another. And this is the file in a particular folder that I want to copy to another folder. And this is the folder I want to copy it to. It's empty. There are different ways in which you can do this. Back in the earlier days of Windows, I used a program called Norton Commander or Xtree, and it would have two instances of the files or two instances of the file manager, and you would be able to just click and drag it or move it from one to the other. And that's the way I got used to doing it, and I could still do it that way. And the way I would do it would be to hover over the bar at the top right and choose the side-by-side. In Windows 10, you can just snap it to the sides. So I snapped it to the side, so I've got two half screens, one with the view that we're doing, and then I can put whatever I want in the other. So I put a second Windows File Explorer, and then I could just either drag it or copy it from one to the other. But that's a more difficult way to do it. Another way to do it would be to right mouse click the file that you want. When you do, you'll get this menu, and at the bottom it says Show More Options. When you show more options, you get this. One of the things you could do is you could copy the file, go to the folder that you want to put it in, and paste it. That's not one I do recommend, but it can be done. What I do is, if I left mouse click and dragged it to the folder that I want on the left side and let the mouse key go, it would drop in there automatically. If I right mouse click and then dragged it, it would work differently. When I click on the right mouse button and then let go when I've moved it over the folder that I want, I get a menu. I recommend doing it this way with the right mouse button, because if you drop it in the wrong place, you don't know where it is. This way you have, number one, you can see where it's going, and two, you can also decide what you want to do. Do you want to copy it here? Or do you want to move it here? Or just create a shortcut? Now notice that the move here is bold. That means the default is move here. So if I used the left mouse button and dropped it there, it would move it. So what moving is, it's copying it and then deleting it from the other place. So I could copy it or move it. And when I right mouse click, I have a choice to what I want to do, and I can also cancel it. So if it's not the right place, I can cancel out of what I'm doing. So that's why I recommend using the right mouse button. Now, the reason it's highlighted is because that's the default. Now, what makes it the default? If you're moving it from one folder to another on the same drive, it'll default to move. If you're copying it from one drive to another drive, the default will be copy. So when I move it, it is now in the new folder, which was empty. It's that easy. Microsoft File Explorer. Copy or move. I'm Hewie Poplock. And there we go.
Thanks, Hewie. Hewie taught me that. I was so confused with that. Remember that? You showed me how to do that, and that I didn't understand that. So if you may want to replay this again and go back over it if it's a bit confusing, but it really works well. Thank you, Hewie. That was good news. All right, let me just share. I have a little segment for everyone. Which camera would give us the best picture on a Zoom call? My $1,000 Canon camera, my $300 Elgato webcam, or my $80 Logitech 920? Well, it's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. This is part of a 3-part series I'm doing. The first was last week, so if you didn't see it, then you should go back and look at it. I talked about lighting and camera angles to improve your Zoom picture. This week we're going to talk about cameras like this, DSLRs, or digital single lens reflexes. If you have these sitting around your house, maybe you've had one for 10 years, you've got some lenses, let's hook it up to the computer and use it as a webcam. But why would you want to do that? Before we move on, I'd sure appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Remember that? It really helps us make videos and continue on. So just hit the button and let's get on with it. All right. So let's talk about DSLRs, or digital single lens reflexes. Now, I just posed a question for you at the beginning of this video. I said, which of these cameras, was it this one, or my Elgato webcam, or my Logitech 920, what would give you the best picture on a Zoom call? And the answer to that question is they're all the same. You're going to say, what? Yes. I had a panel of experts. We all had a Zoom meeting. I put all these devices to the test, and these are experts, people working in the business, and they could not tell the difference. And the reason for that is because in a Zoom meeting, Zoom highly compresses the video quality. And so really it doesn't matter too much which of these devices you use. So the most important way to improve your image in a Zoom meeting is through what I talked about in the first video, and that's lighting, lighting, lighting. Also, camera angles is important as well. So why would you want to maybe take one of these devices and use it as a webcam? Well, that's a very interesting proposition. First of all, I'm not suggesting you go and spend a lot of money buying this. And by the way, my wife wanted me to remind you, this is really her camera, not mine. So I didn't go and spend $1,000 on this. But if you did have a digital single lens reflex sitting around, you've got some lenses, you know how to use it. These are great devices to help improve your image. Now today we're going to talk a little bit about some new terms for you. The first term I want to talk about is vlogging. Now what I always thought vlogging is what the British Navy used to do to you, but that's flogging, right? So it's different. We're not talking about flogging, we're talking about vlogging. Well, what is vlogging? Well, vlogging is V-L-O-G. Vlogging is actually creating digital content for social media. So if you take a camera like this and you're out and you're doing movies and you're putting them on YouTube or Facebook or social media, that is called vlogging. And that is one of the most common uses of these cameras today. And if you're doing that, we can show you how that you can start to improve your image. Now I'm going to give you a couple examples now of recently seen videos that there were some problems with cameras. And I want to point this out and show you how a camera like this could help you improve your image. So let's have a look at these captures. All right, this is a video comparing the Baratza Encore coffee grinder on the left with the Breville Smart Grinder on the right. This is a well done video. He did a good job preparing this and presenting his comparison. However, you will see that there was a lot of problems with the camera. If you look at the image right now, you'll see that his face is reasonably in focus, but of course the coffee grinder, particularly on the left, is completely out of focus. You can't even see the label, which is a big label right on the front. You can't read it. So let's just have a look as I play this video and see what it looks like. Now he's talking about the Baratza and discussing the differences between the two. So as you saw in the last video, the problem was one of autofocus. The camera kept focusing on his face, but left the two images in front out of focus, creating a poor camera image. Let's look at this next clip and see what happens. Now this is, again, it's a coffee. It's a different video, different person making this, and he's showing you how to clean the burrs out of a coffee maker. And I want you to watch as it's a well done video and he did a good job with it, but it's real obvious he's having trouble with the camera focus, particularly when he comes in on a close-up shot. So let's play the video and see what happens. Here he's discussing the burr and he's talking about how to clean this. And he's going to come in closer in a minute and he's going to show you a close-up here, and you'll see, of course, how he's having trouble focusing on this. And then he's going to talk a little more and he comes back again and is really out of focus. Both of these situations can be helped by using a digital single lens reflex camera because, of course, you have more versatility with your camera lenses. All right, this is Melanie Howe. She is a professional social media consultant and she often does videos for StreamYard. This is a clip that she recently did while on StreamYard, and I want to focus on how she's achieving this effect. So let's look at this image, and I'll play you the clip in a minute, but I want you to look at her face, and of course the color balance is perfect. She also has a black shirt on, which of course accentuates her face because she wants us to see her face as she's talking. Now in the background you'll see that it's a bit blurred. And she does this by using, of course, the depth of field feature on a DSLR camera. She, of course, has a subdued background with some color, and it allows her to stand out as she's doing her show. So you see, as she's talking, of course, we focus in on her face because it's all a dark background. Now, she does this by using a DSLR camera. It's actually a Sony. It's actually connected to her computer through an HDMI cable and a video capture card. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. All right, a lot of the solutions can be found in using a DSLR camera. What is a DSLR camera? Well, it's digital. If your camera uses film, you're out of luck. But mostly these cameras over the past 15 years are digital. In other words, there's no film in them. So that makes it easy to connect these to your computer, and it is very easy to do. Recently, all the camera manufacturers have gone back and provided software that allows older cameras to be connected to your Zoom meeting or be connected to the computer. The example I'm going to give today is with Canon, and they have created, it's called EOS software that will go back and it will allow you to connect your camera to your computer. This is available free of charge. I'll put the links to the Canon website and you can go and just download the software onto your PC. These cameras all have two output ports. One is USB, the other is HDMI. We're going to talk now about the USB. So the camera will come with a USB connection, and you just connect. It's usually a mini USB connection to the standard Type A connection onto your computer. Oh, yeah. So once you do that and you connect your camera, it will automatically find the software. So when you go to your Zoom meeting, you just choose the camera called EOS, and your camera will be connected. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, let's go over to the Canon website and we're going to go to software drivers. From there, we're going to put in the camera's name, which is going to take us down to the software for the camera. And we'll see that, of course, there is the EOS webcam utility, and we just click on this, download it, and install it. This will allow you to connect to your Zoom meeting. Now, a new feature you'll see on new cameras made for vlogging is the term mirrorless. This is a new feature that occurs on cameras used for vlogging. However, remember, as I've just said, the older DSLR mirrored cameras can be used for connecting to your Zoom meetings. Now, this is the camera that Melanie Howe used in her video. Now, you can't actually connect an HDMI cable to your computer with the camera because it won't recognize it. So it has to go through what we call a video capture card. And this is the one I purchased from Elgato. You can find cheaper cards for around $30, but the quality is often variable. Now connecting your camera to your computer with HDMI is the preferred method because the USB connection is often slow and limits the data that can be transferred back and forth. Now, another term I want you to understand is called clean HDMI. When we start looking at these cameras, you really should be looking for a camera that will give you a clean HDMI setting. The reason for this is as you look through the lens on these cameras, you'll see a lot of control features that are projected onto the screen. Well, of course, we don't want that when we're recording our vlogs. So a clean HDMI setting will mean that those images will be gone and you'll get what you see on the computer screen. And that's called a clean HDMI setting. And that's something you should look for as you look for a vlogging camera. So if you have one of these cameras sitting around, give it a try. You'll get some great pictures. Please remember to like and subscribe, and don't forget to watch next week when we're going to talk about how to use your smartphone as a webcam. This is real cool. So please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in about a week's time. Ron Brown with Tech for Senior.
Stop hiding your Wi-Fi network. If you keep your Wi-Fi router's SSID hidden, it might make you feel safer, but it doesn't help with security and likely serves as an unnecessary inconvenience. And here's why. Hidden SSIDs can be found easily. Many Wi-Fi routers include an option to hide or make invisible their SSID, which is short for Service Set Identifier, which means the name of your Wi-Fi network won't show up when a device automatically scans for nearby access points to connect to. Routers perform this hiding trick by not including the SSID name in what are called beacon frames, which regularly transmit to announce the presence of a Wi-Fi access point. Unfortunately, it's trivial for a knowledgeable hacker, someone intent on breaking into your network, to discover your SSID anyway. The weakness comes when someone connects to your Wi-Fi network. During the negotiation process, the SSID name is broadcast unencrypted. As part of the Wi-Fi specifications, using a free network tool like Wireshark, hackers can monitor the traffic going to and from the Wi-Fi router to determine the SSID. So if you're using a hidden SSID to avoid hackers, it's giving you a false sense of security. There may be other, less serious reasons to hide your SSID. Maybe you'd like to keep a child off a certain network, for example, but you can't rely on that method to keep your network safe. When you set up a new device that uses Wi-Fi, it will often automatically scan for a new network to connect to. To do this, your router needs to be broadcasting its SSID. After selecting the network and entering the proper password on the device, you're connected in a jiffy. If the SSID is hidden, you're adding an extra step of inconvenience to your setup time. You'll need to manually enter the SSID name in advanced settings on the device to connect. For devices with limited interfaces, such as a Wi-Fi printer, this can be quite a hassle. You're actually inconveniencing yourself. As we've already seen in the section above, if you're trying to secure your Wi-Fi network against nefarious hackers, hiding your SSID doesn't stop them and only creates extra work for yourself. To strengthen the security of your Wi-Fi access point, there are better things you can do than hiding your SSID. Here are a few of them. Avoid obsolete and weak Wi-Fi encryption methods such as WEP, WPA1, and WPA2 TKIP. Don't run an open Wi-Fi access point where people can connect without a password. Turn off WPS, which is Wi-Fi Protected Setup. Disable Wi-Fi guest accounts, which can also introduce vulnerabilities. Use a strong modern Wi-Fi encryption method such as WPA2 personal or WPA3 if available. Choose a strong Wi-Fi password and don't share it with others. If someone asks for the password that you trust to connect, enter it into their device yourself. If your router doesn't support modern encryption methods, it's time to get a new router. If you follow this advice, your Wi-Fi network will be reasonably secure against all but the most extreme threats. And let's face it, if you're in the life or death state secrets category, you shouldn't rely on a consumer Wi-Fi router for security. So let those SSIDs fly free and don't worry if someone knows what your network name is. For more details, read the whole article on this topic at How to Geek. Just follow the link. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. Good information. All right. Ray, just before you get going, I want to say goodbye to the our YouTube fans over there. If you want to pop over, what have we got? We've got 72. So we've got lots of room over here on our Zoom meeting. If you want to pop over and participate in the Q&A, we're happy to have you. Otherwise, we'll see you the same time, same place next week. Go ahead, Ray. I'm just going to stop the meeting.
All right. Well, coming up in 3 more days is the infamous The Day the Music Died. I've talked about this a few times over the last couple of years. But let me, today, instead of talking about things, let me show you some things. So back in 2013, my significant other at the time, now my wife, Carol, she flew from Phoenix to Milwaukee on a business trip. And Wisconsin is where her maternal grandmother was born and raised. So we decided I would drive and meet her there when the conference was over and we could tour the Badger State. I had recently joined APCUG as the Region 9 advisor. So I used the opportunity to take a slight detour and spent a week visiting all the member computer clubs in Colorado. Now, this prompted me to take another detour and head to the Surf Ballroom, the legendary location for The Day the Music Died. Now, the 63rd, can you believe it? The 63rd anniversary of this event is coming up. So I thought I'd share with you the pictures I took on my visit to the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa. So a pretty large parking lot. There's my RV parked back there. And this is what the outside view looks like of the front entrance. Nothing spectacular, just a simple type of building. There's a couple of markers on the outside. The Legends marker, talking about the 3 singers who died as well as the pilot. And then this is a marker from the National Register of Historic Places, placed here in 2011. And it comments there that the Surf Ballroom was built actually in 1948. On the inside, there's another marker, this one from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And you can read that, how it's designating this building as a prime example of the early days of rock and roll and where the sound and attitude of rock and roll changed forever. And then the Surf Ballroom's older signage, surf, a good place to go, dance, summer and winter, Iowa's finest ballroom. And then if you're looking in the restaurant area, you can see some of the guitars on the wall there, up at the top here, and the restaurant. And then this is what the dance floor would have looked like. And there's the stage on the right-hand photo where the band would have been set up. I was told, when I talked to some of the people there, that it has changed very little since 1959. This was, I thought, interesting. Here's the phone. This payphone was used by Buddy Holly to call his wife Maria Elena in New York, and by Richie Valens to call his manager Bob Keane in Los Angeles on the evening of February 2. Phone is still there. I didn't try to see if it worked. I don't think so, but then here's some of the pictures on the wall. On the left-hand side, my favorite performer of all time, Dion, with somebody who most people would never recognize. His name is Frankie Sardo, and he was one of the attractions that night. He was really a one-hit wonder with a song called Fake Out. And of course, there's the Everly Brothers. There's Rosie Hamlin, who was the voice on the song Angel Baby. I got to know her pretty well when I lived in Los Angeles. Ivory Joe Hunter. All the people who have, at one time or another, performed here at the Surf Ballroom. And I think I've mentioned this before, that the Nelson family, when the sons of Ricky Nelson got a #1 hit, that made this the only family that with 3 generations of music that reached #1 on the charts. And how would you like to live on this corner? I live on the corner of Richie Valens Drive and Buddy Holly Place. So on to the music for today. 2007, I'm at a local theater watching the movie Juno. Partway through it, there's a tune in the background playing. I don't recognize the song, but I immediately know who the singer is. And I blurt out, without thinking, for anybody sitting nearby to hear me say, "That's Buddy Holly." Now, this song was actually a solo recording Buddy completed in his Greenwich Village, New York apartment on a simple reel-to-reel tape deck only weeks before his death. The song is titled Dearest, and it was originally recorded by Mickey and Sylvia of Love is Strange fame back in 1957. According to Buddy's wife, Maria Elena, he really liked this song and taped the demo with intent to do a studio recording later. But of course, that day never arrived. So again, this is just Buddy Holly sitting in his apartment with his guitar. There's no crickets in the background. There's no band, just him and his guitar. That most of you, that's the first time you've heard that.
Yes, well done, well done, well done. That's really great music. Thanks so much. All right, it is top of the hour. Hey, how did we do that? It turned out perfect. Exactly right on 10 o'clock or top of the hour, whatever time zone you're in. Amazing. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for coming. We're going to move now into our question and answer period. But before we do, I just want to remind everybody, please don't forget donations. We really do need, we're about 30% now, and we need another, and I know it's going to happen quickly, but the sooner we get it over with, we can just move on to having fun. And then don't forget, I put in the, for our premier service today, I'm not going to repeat what it's about, but I did have put in the chat a number of times now, the link. So if you just click that link, it'll take you to the video, but the video won't start until 1/2 the hour. So you have to just wait there and it'll start at 1/2 the hour. And of course it is, available once it's finished. It'll be there permanently, so you can go back and look at it again. Now we had such a big show today and lots of people, lots of interesting stuff to talk about. If anybody has any questions or you want to ask the panelists, as you know, down at the bottom there is the little button that you can raise your hand, and since we have a lot of people in the audience today, it's hard for us to see everyone, but when you raise your hand it brings you up to so we can see you and know and acknowledge you. So if you could do that, then we will answer your, as you see Dorothy has her hand up, so we're going to talk with Dorothy first. Dorothy, go ahead.
I've got a big problem. This stupid laptop is so slow. It's slower than I am, and I'm old. I don't recognize these newer brand names. So could somebody tell me what brand I should buy?
How old is your laptop, Dorothy?
I have no idea. Probably 5 to 7 years old.
Okay, time for something new. Did you want a Chromebook, or do you think, what do you actually do with your laptop?
Well, I use my desktop most of the time because I have 2 screens when I'm doing research. But basically, for this meeting.
All right. You have a couple of choices. You can choose. You can either go down the route of another. Now, here's a couple of simple things. I question whether you need a laptop. if you are not moving the machine around and you're not transiting it or moving it, and it's just staying on your desk, I think you might want to consider a PC, like a physical box rather than a laptop, because you don't need the battery part of it. So you might want to consider that. And the other thing you might want to consider is if you might want to consider a Chromebook, depending on what type of services you use with it. They tend to be a bit cheaper and not as many problems with them. So that's another option for you. Now, as far as manufacturers go, usually if you go down to Best Buy, they will, I mean, they're all pretty much, you've got Dell, you've got Hewlett Packard, and you've got Asus. All those companies are making very good products now. So I think that it's not so much which one is a better product. They're all really good. It's sort of what do you really want for the uses, whether you need a laptop, a PC, or a Chromebook. So those are some options for you.
So a couple of hints. Jot down some must-haves and some wants that you want in your new system. Then go to the store and don't take your credit card or your checkbook with you. Go the first time and look around and take your phone with you and take pictures of the model and of the barcode. And then look at some reviews when you get home of the ones that look good to you. And then make sure that because when you're looking at several models, one has this item and one has that item, and you want this and you want that. And sometimes the one you decide on doesn't have what you thought it had in it, because the model next to it did. So it can get very confusing. The other thing that I suggest is, stick with one of the major brands. If you go with a PC, HP, Asus, Acer, Lenovo, which is the old IBM, it's all the old IBM ThinkPads and the IBM computers. Most of the major brands are good. But they have good models and they have not so good models and they have better models. So again, you've got to look at the reviews and see what they say. A lot of times if you go like to Amazon and look at the reviews, what you want to do is look at some of the real bad reviews. Sometimes it's just somebody got a bad machine or they didn't know what they were doing. Yeah. They write a bad review, but sometimes there's some good hints in what there are problems with that particular model.
Sometimes it's also great to consider a refurbished or one that's been returned. Could it had a scratch on it? Okay. Refurbished. If you're buying a refurbished, what I did is a refurbished had all the bells and whistles I wanted. Yes, the computer itself or the motherboard was a little older, but 32 gigs of RAM, an i7 processor. So it's a speedy processor. I paid $400. Yes, it didn't have a monitor. It didn't have a keyboard. Who needs it? I already had those things. And I bought a, oh shoot. I bought protection for it because a refurbished usually only gives you 3 months worth. And you know that there was something wrong with it. They fixed it. I also have a brand new Dell that I had all kinds of problems with, but I paid top dollar because it was brand new. And by the time they finished doing all the fixes, I paid top dollar for a refurbished computer. So the next one, this one that I'm using now, is a refurbished. It was very cheap in price, but very good in what it contained as far as the product goes. And then I bought protection for it. So if something goes wrong, that's what the insurance comes in for. Well, normally I don't use insurance, but when it's a refurbished.
Yeah, definitely. I have an iPad. I have a pretty good size one, and my daughter keeps saying, well, you don't need a laptop, but there's no keypad on it.
Buy a keypad.
I'm muted. You can buy keyboards for iPads.
Mm-hmm.
For what the iPad costs, that would probably make more sense.
If all the functions you use you can do on an iPad, you can certainly easily have a keyboard it's a wireless keyboard that'll connect to your iPad, and there are lots of selections. Mhm.
Well, I'll just run down to the Apple store then.
Yeah.
I like donating to them anyway.
All right, thanks, Dorothy.
Thank you.
Hewie, did you have a question or comment or your hand up for?
Just a comment that we've got the premiere coming up, and I talk about QR codes, and I've been noticing a lot. What the QR code is, when you take a picture, you'll see it. You take your phone and hold it up, and when it sees it, and then gives you a link, and you click the link. So a lot of restaurants are now using it for menus, so you don't have to touch menus for safety reasons, sanitary reasons, and they can change their menus often that way as well. But another thing is, when I was at that trade show, all of the booths that had drawings, you aren't putting in your business card anymore. What you're doing is they got a QR code. You take your phone out, look at it, it connects to the form, you fill out the form, and everything's automated from that point on. It's they're neat and they're really nice to use. You just have to be careful when you see them. There are some people out there who connect it to bad things too. So just bear that in mind and enjoy the session on the premiere show today.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks. Yes, that's going to be a good one. Ivana, you've got a question?
How many smartwatches can you hook up to one phone?
I don't think there's a limit. I have 3, so it doesn't really matter. In fact, when I do testing for sleep tracking and stuff like that, I have 2 on one wrist and 1 on the other. I don't really think, and soon I'm going to get the Google Watch that's coming out. So I don't think there's a limit on that. Yeah, I guess it would be Bluetooth would be the limit on how well. The Bluetooth is sort of black magic as far as I'm concerned. It's a bit weird, but for the most part, it works pretty well. And so I've had three on my wrist at one time. So I don't. Why did you want to get more than 3? How many watches do you want to get?
No, I have 2 Galaxy watches.
Right.
And one's a 2 and one's a 3. But it wouldn't seem to connect both of those. And I was thinking, well, maybe it will only connect per one operating system.
No. Oh, no, I don't think so. No. Now, one of the problems you will run into, particularly with older watches, is Bluetooth compatibility. And that you'll often run into that with phones or devices, depending on some of the older Bluetooth connected devices.
Okay, Ron, if she's using the same brand, they're both connecting to the same program, correct? And that may be where the problem is. Oh,
I see. Yeah, that could be as well. I guess if you're using 2 Galaxy, yeah, that could be an issue.
Well, I think they're both at Tizen. TRI.
Yeah, Tizen's the operating system. But what he was saying, if you have 2 Galaxy watches trying to be connected at the same time, I don't know the answer. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that because
using one app.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that. That may be a problem. That's a good question, though. I don't know the answer.
Oh, I bought the Wise Watch, so I want to hook that up to my phone, and I'll have to use one of the Galaxies.
Yeah, that's okay. You can use a Wise and a Galaxy. I would think that wouldn't be a problem. They're 2 different apps.
Okay.
Sure.
It's an app that controls the connection.
Sure.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Marcia.
Yes, I just wanted to say something that went along with Hewie's QR code reader. We have a daughter who lives in Hawaii, and they've collected a lot of different palm trees and exotic plants for us anyway. And because it's a rainy season, raining area there, they have to fertilize often. So she's created a database that she has online with each plant, where it was purchased, how much it was, when it was purchased, when to fertilize it, all the details of the plants. Then she has a laser engraving machine called Glowforge. And so she's making acrylic plant markers with a QR code reader and a picture of the plant on the plant marker. So they can just point their camera to the QR code. It will open it up and tell them when they need to fertilize it and all those kinds of things. And it's pretty cool. There's so many things you can do with QR codes.
Right. It's just not an image, but you can also program into sequences, right? That's what I'm, yeah.
Oh, yes. And you can also put your picture or a cartoon within the QR code. It doesn't have to be just the black squiggly lines.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, and Hewie talked a lot about that on his video. So if you I would encourage everyone to listen to the at half past the hour. It should be a good talk. Hewie did a good job a year ago. Thanks, Marcia. George, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Huey, did you see any lights like that light they showed for the set on top? It's too focused, it's too small, so it would be a problem for me. I'm looking for a long strip light that could sit on top of a monitor. Did you see anything like that on the show?
I did not.
Okay.
No,
Well, I'll go look for a small LED kitchen.
What I did see is there's a lot of things with many cameras in them. They can do 180 degrees and even one that can do 360 degrees. But not I didn't see a lot in lights. No.
Okay.
Well,
And
also microphones from different that'll pick up from all around the room type of thing. But no, I didn't see a lot on lighting. No, that's a good point.
Okay, thank you.
George, just to give you a tip, I recently purchased a Philips Hue light, HUE light, and I put it in the. I took the ceiling light out on the top in my studio here, and I took it out and put one of the Philips Hue lights in, which of course you can change the color to anything you want and the intensity, and it made a huge difference in the video quality in some of my recordings, and that was evidenced in. I was using that today in the video, trying different settings in the video I did today. So you might want to consider that. It does provide pretty good light for recording.
Now this light here that's lighting my face now is the only light on at the moment. Usually I light two or three.
Yeah. And what a lot of people are doing now.
It's a Hue light.
What a lot of people are doing now is instead of having one light just directly in front of you, and then you might get shadows on the sides, they're doing like two lights or maybe even three lights. So more lighting and then something to diffuse it so it's not all glaring right at
exactly.
you.
That's what I'm.
And that's the nice thing about that Logitech one, that it's got a nice diffuser on it. He could look right at it and it wasn't blinding him at all.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
John, go ahead. Just unmute yourself.
You're unmuted.
You're unmuted, but we don't hear you.
We're having some trouble with your microphone.
He just got a new laptop and he's still learning how to use it.
George or John, maybe we'll talk to Sandy. Was Sandy, did she have a question?
No, John, we're not hearing you.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you do hand language or sign language?
Type a question into the chat box.
Yeah, we can do that.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
No, we're not hearing you.
Yeah.
And I'm not a lip reader.
Right. Just type it in the chat. Just type it in the chat box and we'll answer it for you.
Anyone else?
He doesn't know how.
Okay.
All right.
He could call me and I could ask you the question.
Well, we only have a couple of minutes.
Bill, you'll have to help John figure it out.
Right.
I'll do so. I think his microphone is turned off.
Or he's got the wrong microphone.
He has the wrong driver. Yeah.
Oh, you just got a brand new laptop.
I know, but
Probably doesn't
he has
have
something
the audio
that's
turned
not.
on.
He has something that's not connected properly.
Right.
So Bill, do you have you're not going to tell us what your article is going to be
That's
tomorrow?
not connected.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
It'd be a surprise. I always enjoy doing research on those. So
All right. Okay. Very good. Well, we're reaching the 20-minute. We're reaching the ending time here. If we, John, I'm sorry we can't answer your question, but did it? Well, I guess we didn't get it in the chat. That's okay. Ivana, go ahead.
When I read Bill James articles, I have to make a rule. I have to wait 24 hours because I love all the research and I go and I want to buy it and I have to put a 24-hour hold on it because otherwise I would buy everything.
Thank you, Ivana.
We're all in the same boat, Ivana.
Yeah, I have a wife. I have a wife I have to run it by, and she's on the no, you can't buy Bill James's stuff anymore. So
That's very kind. Thank you so much.
So anyway,
I just finished putting in a Wise doorbell camera yesterday. I didn't put it in, the electrician did, because this is the one that requires power, and I have no power at the front door at all.
right.
I always depended on batteries, and I got tired of having to recharge. So I spent the money and had an electrician solve the problem for me.
All right. Well, listen, it's time to run. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Don't forget our Thursday show. The usual gang will be there. We're talking about technology. Be sure and remember now, it's not a Zoom meeting. So all you people that log in on Thursday to our Zoom account to expecting a Zoom meeting, it's not a Zoom meeting. It's either on Facebook or YouTube, and you'll see the links in the newsletter tomorrow. If you haven't signed up for our newsletter, please do so. Hewie, did you have one last comment?
One last thing, the Sarasota Technology user group this Wednesday features Bob G. And he's going to be talking about security. Yeah. So you can get to see him again.
Wow.
You do have to register and just go to the Stug website, and there's information on how to do that. And if you can't figure it out, email me. I'll get you on the list.
Huey,
I wish your Thursday meeting didn't coincide with our local meeting.
Well, what you can
I
do
tried,
is,
but I can't be in two places at once.
What
Now,
you can
Sarasota
do is
Sarasota is in the evening. Yours is early in the morning.
You can.
but she's
listen
talking about
to
our Thursday
podcast.
program.
Yeah, listen to our
She
podcast.
was talking about our Thursday program. What you could do is for your meeting is show our program.
Right.
There you go. Solves both problems.
No, thank you.
And just
Thank
invite
God
me.
I don't schedule programming. I don't do classes anymore. I have retired after some 29 years or so of doing all that kind of stuff.
There you go. All right, everyone. See you next week. Same time, same place. Don't forget, we're going to talk about cell phones as webcams next week. So don't trade in your cell phone, because it's going to be the best webcam you ever had. So we're going to talk about that next week and lots more. So we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.